You're listening to the Exes and Babies podcast, covering the good, bad, and the ugly of co-parenting. I'm your host, Sydney Swonigan, aka the Co-Parent Whisperer. Let's get into it. Qolett, I'm so glad you're on this episode.
Hey, girl.
It was a long time coming.
Very much
Y'all,
so.
This is my girl, Qolett. I've known Qolett since high school at least.
I feel like you told me I taught you something in high school. I can't remember.
Well, we won't tell everybody what that was. No, I'm just kidding.
It's not for camera? Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm going to be messy. But Qolett took me under her wing back in the day, and you still do that. You're always looking out for me, and I really, really admire you and appreciate you, and I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Y'all are about to learn a lot from Qolett, just the way she thinks about scenarios and is super self-aware. I just think you guys can get a lot from her, so please listen up. So Qolett, tell everyone a little bit about you.
Like I said earlier, I'm from Seattle, Washington. I moved to Atlanta around 20 just so I could have a different perspective. Love Seattle, love what it gave me, love the diversity of Seattle. But I wanted to experience what it's like to not be the minority.
Hey.
So I came to Atlanta and I was like, oh, this is our city. You can find, Black women specifically in positions of power, doctors, lawyers, business owners, anywhere. So I thought that was really empowering for myself as a young woman growing into my womanhood.
Right.
I came here for that. It allowed me to grow my business as an advocate for women, as a coach for women, things like that. I also got to dabble in my music a little bit, which I'm hopping back into now. I just joined an orchestra.
Hey, what do you do at the orchestra?
I play the violin.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
When can you let me know when you have a show? I want to see it.
Absolutely. I was with a classical orchestra for a while. Which I loved. I've always played in a classical orchestra, but this one's more contemporary. So I just joined. I've only had one rehearsal with them. My next one is actually this week. So I'll let you know because I know you'll be back in Atlanta.
You know I will. I will. Well, I just admire you, and I love how you came out here all on your own essentially and made a life for yourself.
Thank
and then
you.
You allowed me to hang out with your friends when you're down here and stuff, and you look out for us. So I appreciate you.
Of course, thank you.
Okay. One of the things I've always been curious about in terms of your take, because I know, we be out here dating. Sometimes we are and sometimes we're not, depending on where we're at in our journey. And I know that you've had experience dating men with children. And I think it's so important for women and men, whoever's coming into a person's life who has children, we have to be really intentional about how we're showing up for our own selves. What boundaries do we have? What are we willing to put up with not versus, and then also how are we going to show up for that partner when it comes to their kids and those kids? So how has it been for you dating men with children?
I actually don't mind. I personally don't have the desire to birth and be a mother. So I actually prefer to date men that already have kids if they want to be fathers. If they don't, that's also fine. But if they would like to be fathers, I prefer to date men that already have kids so I don't get that pressure. But it also tells me a lot about their character, their values, how they show up for people, things like that. If they have a positive relationship with the mother of their kid, that says a lot to me. Versus if they speak ill of the mother of their kid, that says a lot to me as well. Huge red flag for me. So I actually prefer, but you said something about boundaries.
Yes, let's do that.
One of my big boundaries, if I'm going to date someone with kids and if they want me to be around, the mom has to be okay with that. She has to, we don't have to be best friends, but I want her to know I'm there. I want to know what her values are and what is important to her so that I can advocate for her in her absence if I'm not there, if she's not there, excuse me. I actually broke up with somebody behind that because he wanted me to be in his daughter's life without the mother's knowledge, permission, whatever, and that I was like, that makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what's important to her. She doesn't know me, so that's a huge boundary for me.
But what if they were actually right? What if their baby mama is actually very toxic, would not want him to be happy in any relationship, don't want some other badass woman in their child's life because then they're gonna feel inferior and what have you? What about in those scenarios? Do you really need that woman's blessing?
Not necessarily her blessing, but when it comes to children, I hold myself to a higher standard, how I carry myself. I think that's every adult's responsibility, whether you're actively in that child's life or not, is to hold yourself to a high standard so you're making sure you're giving them the best, not giving the worst of what we may have been through. That's just always what I think about when I have kids around me, making sure I'm giving them my best. But to answer your question, if there's still drama and stuff like that going around, maybe he shouldn't be dating and maybe he needs to handle that. Or if that's the case, that needs to be a discussion beforehand so I can decide, do I even want to engage in this situation with this kind of drama?
Right.
Because like I said, I don't have kids intentionally, and it's not necessarily my responsibility to take on somebody else's drama too. So,
right, for sure.
Definitely another boundary.
Another boundary. Okay, that's another one. I'm gonna keep track. Wait, what are the things you're looking for when it comes to how like a potential partner is treating their ex, the parent of their child? For
sure. So again, I'm probably not there for all their interactions, but the first thing that I notice is how they speak of them in their absence. That is huge. Even if they're not on the greatest of terms, not everyone has to like everyone all the time.
Right.
But how do you speak about her? Do you call her out of your name versus, this is the mother of my child? Do you speak highly of her versus do you disparage her character? Because also some men will do that to make themselves look better and to deflect from their other things that they're lacking. They'll be like, she's this, she's that. So I look for those kinds of things. That's a huge red flag.
Right.
2, do they have healthy communication? Like some of the men I've dated with kids that have healthy communication with the mothers of their children, they won't mind speaking to her in front of me.
Okay.
Because everything they have to say is above board versus sometimes you find out they're not necessarily broken up.
Ooh,
so it's things like that. Because, creating a child with somebody is an intimate experience. So it's not surprising that the relationship would linger.
Right.
That's another boundary I have. I don't date men with kids under a certain age, like 5 maybe might be my boundary.
Why is
because
that?
It's just a very intimate connection, and I wouldn't blame anybody that has issues severing that connection. I just would like to be on the other end of that.
Got it. They're further along in their co-parenting. They have their parenting plan and their routines more grounded.
Yeah, and they're still not romantically interested in it. Because sometimes, I'm sure you understand, parenting plans change all the time.
I do.
Especially with the age of the child. They need more of this, they need more of that. They might need more pickups or sports or activities, whatever. So the plan might change.
Right, that's true.
But are you romantically severed, and are you guys in a good communication where I'm not a hindrance, there's no jealousy because of me, and I can be helpful? Like, I've had some of my exes, the mother or child has my number. If they can't get a hold of him, they've reached out to me.
And you want to be in that role.
I mean, if I'm helpful, I love children.
Okay.
If I'm in a helpful, loving capacity to a child, I don't mind that.
Okay.
I don't mind being in a helpful, loving capacity.
And like, what principles do you have when it comes to interacting with children? Like, you are like the godmom to many children in the world. I feel like, so people clearly trust you with their children. I would trust my son with you for real. Like, what is it that you do with children that makes people trust you, or what is this dynamic?
So we're leading with love first, always leading with love and what's best for the child. You have to have a firm sense of self-love for yourself.
Right.
If you don't love yourself, you can't properly love others. So before I even have somebody's child, am I happy with myself? Am I in a good headspace? Because if I'm not, I don't want to put that on somebody. Granted, I know parents that are full-time parents don't have that ability to be like, I'm not a parent today.
Right.
So if I'm going, out of my way to help, I want to make sure that I'm giving them the best of me. So good headspace, loving myself first, leading with love, and then also like knowing the parent, whether it's one of my friends, kids, one of my nieces, nephews, godkids. I would like to know what their value system is so I can further enforce that, because everyone's value system is different.
That's true.
Everyone's religion is different. I wouldn't enforce someone else's religious standards on a child, but if I have a child with me that their parent wants this kind of example, I'll help enforce that while they're in my care. So it's just knowing them, knowing what their parent wants, but then also getting to know the kid. Like, I'll sit on the floor and get on their level and just talk to a 3-year-old and be down with them and say, hey, what's up? Talk to me. What's going on? This is your favorite toy? Okay, what sound does it make? What does it do?
That.
This is your favorite book? Okay, tell me about it. And I get on their level and I try to empathize with them as much as possible and make them feel seen. And then, they don't stop talking after that once they're seen there.
Yes. I love that. And one of the things that I've been seeing circulate, pivoting a little bit, is this video of this. So it's like mom, dad, toddler, infant in mom's arms, and at some point maybe in dad's arms too. But then the stepmom, who's married to the father, is like doing most of the talking during this dispute. Like the mom and dad are arguing about something. I think there's been some hiccups around residential time. Like mom's been keeping child for longer, and stepmom has been the most, in this video, she's the most vocal, the loudest. She's talking over them. The parents are talking very like calmly and quietly. Okay. She's loud. Well, I'm calling the police. I'm doing this. And no, get your baby. Don't telling her husband, the father of another woman's child, like, I'm calling the police. Don't let her take her daughter, your daughter, right? Like all these things. And I was just personally disgusted by all of it, honestly. And then the baby starts crying because someone actually does try to take the baby from one of the parents.
That's traumatic.
Oh, it was so bad. Anyways, I've literally seen this actually at an airport. Like parents physically, and the baby's just, Anyways, I digress. A little triggered as I speak of it, but like, how do you see that, like, as someone who's been so respectful and thoughtful about how you would engage as being a potential stepmom?
For sure. So the coach in me wants to know how their relationship started to begin with. It sounds like they were toxic to begin with.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what I would be thinking of. But as a potential, that just seems so out of place to me.
Right.
That seems out of place. If that were me in that situation, it's not my place to tell another woman about her child. Now, if they were doing things toxic in front of said child, I would maybe want to advocate and remove said child from the environment to let them hash that out. Right. But it sounds like you were saying the stepmom was the aggressor.
She was. I mean, she called the police. She's like, take the baby, and telling him what to do. And he's kind of telling her, hey, chill. But not enough, in my opinion.
It sounds like she needs therapy.
The whole group probably need therapy. Definitely that.
But it sounds like the parents had it under control. But this is the thing too. It depends on where people are in their healing journey. Some people thrive in chaos, and some people will create chaos because peace feels unnatural to them. Right. And even though peace is more healthy, they're not used to a healthy dynamic. Right. And so they will create that chaos just so they feel at home. Yeah. And again, I haven't seen this video, but it sounds like if the parents were having a good conversation, and the stepmother, she either wanted attention or she wanted to create chaos so that her environment felt more like what she's used to.
Right. It was crazy. Yeah. And what was interesting, I don't even know what the dynamic was, but this was a baby, and he's already married to this other woman. So I don't know how long I don't know how long they've been married. Like, was there some overlap in the marriage and the baby?
Get the baby out the room.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, they shouldn't have been having that conversation. They seem like so young. All of them are probably in their early 20s. Doesn't matter though. Trauma is trauma. Like, they're creating trauma. But I said to say, like, you know, I'm gonna potentially be a stepmom one day, and I didn't really think about that. Like, I'm a mom, I focus on that. I'm a co-parent, I focus on that. But I most likely will be a stepmom, just the age group I'm in and the demographic I'm usually interested in. They usually already have some kids. No, I'm kidding. But anyways.
Also, I think I have this conversation with my friends a lot. There are like huge gaps in sex ed. And a lot of it, and it's not this isn't necessarily sex ed, but it's a product of, you know, we know how babies are made, and there's not a lot of conversation on how do you actually have a healthy relationship, a healthy dynamic with somebody that you have a kid with. Right. So in this situation, obviously the mom and dad didn't stay together, and they brought in another person, but it seems like all around maybe no one really has a clear view. Because, I mean, we're not taught that young. We're just taught this is how kids are made, but not what happens after said kid is made, and how to create a healthy environment, how to maybe not bring the toxic cycles from your childhood into that child's life. Like, there's so many things that are missed. Right,
which is where we come in, right? Especially Exes and Babies, and then you with your coaching.
For sure.
But yes, I wish it was early on, so if they don't find us before they have these interactions, you know, they're getting that help. And what I wish I would have saw with that video and other stepmoms in the world, right? Like, it's clear, I'm assuming that she cares and she loves. Like, there's love there. She loves this baby, I'm going to assume. But she loves her man.
A lot of benefit of the doubt.
Lots and lots. We're just going to work off of that assumption. Okay. Positive intent, assume positive intent.
For sure.
She sounds like she's triggered, right? Like, I don't know. She shouldn't be there for that conversation. I don't think step parents need to be involved in a co-parenting conversation, especially when there's already drama or dispute happening, because they're going to be biased. They're not actually looking out for the kid, I feel sometimes, depending on their maturity.
Well, and I think maybe in that situation, that would have been her place. Hey, y'all are arguing, but who's looking out for, let me at least remove
if
the
she's
baby
trusted,
from this
though,
situation.
right? Like, I don't know that this mom would have trusted this girl. You, maybe, knowing you would have fostered something beautiful.
For sure.
But let's say that they had a good dynamic. That would have been great for somebody that both the parents trust to remove baby from the situation, and then facilitate that conversation. But I do think, as far as like a stepmother's boundaries, and I'm thinking about myself, my future self, and then like my son as a stepmother, is a stepmother, my son's stepmother, and then your experience you've had. I really think that if things are contentious, it should always be a non-biased player in the room.
For sure.
If more help is needed,
they discuss, and then you tell me.
Right? How can
after you guys have, because if two people are already arguing, a third person, unless they're skilled in how to have a healthy argument, which again we don't learn in school. Right. If two people are already arguing, a third person is not necessarily going to make that better. Especially a third person that probably has a different life experience, different biases, things like that.
And they don't know the full
y'all
story.
Decide and then tell me what's up.
Right. I love that. And you're as a step parent, we would support that. We'd be like, okay, what is your co-parenting agreement and how can I support you?
For sure.
I loved an episode we just released recently where this woman was a step parent essentially too. I mean, they weren't married yet, but they had been in the life of a child of their partner, and she was like, "I'm not getting involved in y'all's stuff, but how can I support you? How can we do some role play before you talk to your ex?" And then that mindset of like, because I think some people, I think stepmoms who aren't mature and don't get what co-parenting is, they think I'm on my man's side. And like they think contention, they don't know about
I'm on
peace.
The kid's side.
Right. It should be about I'm on the kid's side. And what does that look? Kid wants both parents to get along.
Right.
There should be boundaries, right? So there's all these caveats. But that step parent should be thinking about that child and what they need, which I love what you said around that. What do you think are some other breakdowns when it comes to like other people who don't know what they're doing when it comes to step mommyhood or stepdads too?
Ego.
That's the one.
And again, that's why I always lead with what's best for the kid.
Right.
Drop the ego, what's best for the kid. I think, like you said in that situation with the stepmom arguing, it was more ego than anything. If you drop the ego and say, what's the most healthy dynamic that we can all walk away from?
Right.
That would be best case scenario. It's ego. It's ego, lack of conflict resolution skills. But again, good conflict resolution skills come from having a healthy ego.
That part.
Ego, that's everything could boil down to that. Ego and self-love, and like having healthy self-love.
Now, you've been on your own journey around, self-development, and then you've been helping other folks with their journey. Like, what are some things you recommend folks do to have that self-love or to drop that ego or have a healthier ego?
So whatever conflict that you're dealing with, and this works for almost anything, always go back to your first experience with it and then ask who taught you that and who benefited from you experiencing that. Because oftentimes you'll find that toxic cycles that you're perpetuating really just benefited somebody else. And because you were really young, you weren't aware enough to realize that not only does this not serve you, but it's literally only meant to serve one other person that you may or may not even live with anymore.
Can you give an example? Of like a thing, like you're saying.
Yeah. In reference to kids or
No. Like you said, as a child, maybe someone else is benefiting from something. Like,
like for example, girls are often told you're selfish. Don't put yourself first. That's selfish. That's not a good thing. Well, who does that benefit? Because when you look at women that have learned to put themselves first and hold boundaries, that doesn't mean you can't put others in high regard. That doesn't mean you can't take care of others. But women that put themselves first are usually the most successful. Women, my friends that have the highest boundaries and the highest standards have the healthiest marriages.
Okay.
You look at, you know, the Beyoncés and the Michelle Obamas, they put their careers and what they need to get done first. They still love their families and their spouses and all that, but they don't play about their career. They don't play about their reputation.
Right.
And because of that, they're wildly successful.
Right.
So, but then when you look back, who did it help to tell me, don't be selfish, do for others? You know, that helped those around me that wanted things from me, that wanted to siphon my energy. So now I'm giving because that's what I'm told is the best thing to do for a girl. Don't be selfish, give to others, but now I have nothing left for myself.
Right.
So then you grow up and now you're spiteful because you're, again, giving to everyone and there's nothing left for yourself. And if you walk it back to your childhood, you'll realize you were taught that because it was benefiting someone else.
Okay.
So, yeah. So ask, you know, who taught you that? Who benefited from it? You know, and who will be mad if I change that, you know? Because that'll tell you who taught you the toxic cycles.
And then how do you get out of that?
You have to, I just talked about this on TikTok.
Okay. Go to her where's your TikTok at?
Qolett the Coach.
Qolett the Coach.
I call it like living like you're in a choose your own adventure novel. Have you read one of those books?
Yes, it's been so long, but those are hella dope.
Yeah, okay. So you know, like you read, and then there's a part where there's a fork in the road and you get to decide, does the main character do this or that? And then you make a choice, read, you get to another fork in the road. You treat every decision like that in the sense of like, okay, now that I'm getting rid of somebody that gives, and I'm a woman that puts myself first, what would a woman that puts herself first do? Okay. So you wake up in the morning, you're deciding what you want to have for breakfast. Do you rush and make something really quick, or do you take your time and make something healthy for yourself? What would a woman that puts herself first do?
Got it.
You know, you're getting dressed to greet the world, to be taken seriously in this new role. Do you throw on anything, or do you put on something thoughtful that represents that type of woman? And you go through your entire day that way. There may be a time in your day when someone asks you to put your needs second. Okay, well, what would the woman that I'm growing into be do in this situation? You know, and how does this benefit all parties? Will they be really hurt, or do they just want my time and energy because I'm really good at whatever they want me to do? But will that set back my goals?
Right.
You know, and you go through your entire day like that. And then sometimes I'll have them journal about it. Like, how did it feel to put yourself first today? How did it feel to stop? Because really our mindset and our, what's the word I'm looking for? Our belief system controls our actions if we're not thinking. If we're just on autopilot.
Yep.
So if you do the choose your own adventure model, you take yourself off of autopilot and you stop and think, okay, the version of the woman I'm becoming, what would she do in this situation? And it makes you break down everything. Okay. And then before you know it, you're making intentional decisions about everything. Okay. Instead of just going on autopilot, perpetuating toxic cycles without even thinking and realizing it. Right. So yeah.
I love that. I love how you broke that down, and I love the analogy of the book.
Thank you.
I have definitely had to I do that as a co-parent. So I'm like, what would a grounded co-parent do when they put, a co-parent who puts their child first do in this moment? And I've had to do that a lot recently too, just navigating some co-parenting
Have you
challenges.
written out that version of yourself?
I have not. Is that what you recommend?
I can send you a link. It's this visualization, narration, activation. Okay. So I have my clients do a 10 to 15 minute meditation where they visualize the version of themselves that they're growing into be, or that they aspire to grow into be. So whether that's an entrepreneur, great at whatever sport, even if it's just a hobby, or just like a woman that lives a laissez-faire life and, you know, doesn't take things too seriously, just chills. Whatever that version of you is, I have them visualize it for 15 minutes. Immediately write it all down. Okay. That's the narration part. You immediately write it down in detail. Where does she hang out? What does she eat? What are her friends like? What are her hobbies? Where does she work? How does she dress? Where does she vacation? Like everything you can think of that person. And then once you have it down and you have like a model, like this is the me that I'm going into, then you start activating different pieces of it. Okay. And you activate it by that choose your own adventure model. Okay. You know, you think about every decision and say, what would that woman I wrote about do in this situation? That's great. Boom, this is what she would do. And it's scary sometimes because it's very scary to break a cycle that feels like home to you, even if it feels natural to you. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Well, it's scary to break a cycle that feels like home to you, even though if breaking it is what's best for you.
Yes.
So yeah, we sometimes confuse familiarity with comfort.
Okay, I see what you did there. Yeah, that's a good point. Because I was like, oh, comfort. No, that works. What comes natural.
Yeah.
But like you're saying,
but if you're making changes, if you're getting out of that loop,
mm-hmm.
then you're not always going to be doing what's comfortable. Sometimes you're going to be doing things very, very uncomfortable.
Right.
Okay.
And would you recommend like a step parent? Like if you're becoming a step parent, you're terrified. Like I meet a lot of people like, this guy has kids. I don't even know what to do, how to think about this. Like, what do I do? Do you think that could be helpful too for someone who's exploring step parenthood?
So again, I would want them to walk back to whatever is making them feel nervous about it.
Oh, okay.
Figure out whatever that thing is.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people are like, I'm just not good with kids. Oh, okay. Sometimes people are like, kids hate me. Well, who taught you that? Kids don't hate you. Who taught you? I mean,
no, I'm scared.
I was going to say kids do.
If they do hate you, please let me know before I start dating you. Because but no, I hear you.
But yeah, figure out what it is that root thing is. Mm-hmm. Why do you feel that way? And then dismantle it. Who taught you that?
Right.
Well, let's undo that. And then the other thing, again, get on their level. Right. If it's a little kid, get on their level. Talk to them. Mm-hmm. If they're a little older, let me not say the ages of people I've dated. But if their age is elevated, then that will also probably take a little time. Am I telling on myself?
No, just elevated is such a fun word. I have an elevated age. I'm of an elevated age.
Yeah, if they're like in their teens, it probably takes a little while longer.
For sure. Now let me ask you this: what was it? Have you been co-parented as a child? Like, what is your experience growing up?
So. Yes, and I don't know.
Okay.
Yes and no. My mom met my stepdad when I was 20.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So I never grew up in the house with him.
Okay.
Love him down.
Okay.
Love my stepdad down. Very sweet man. Very fatherly. Very willing to step in and like do those fatherly things that every little girl wants.
Like what?
Just like when you need a hug or when you're like, hey, I'm confused about this. Well, let's just do it and we'll worry about it. Like, he's more concerned with making sure I get what I need in the moment than how much something might cost or how long it might take. It's more like, what do you need to be your best self?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. So my little brother grew up with him in the house more than I did because we're 8 years apart. Okay. And they have a really close relationship.
That's what's
so
up.
I'm like slightly jealous that I didn't get to grow up with him. But yeah, and he just came in very warm. He didn't press anything. He wasn't like, he didn't have like an agenda. He just came in and was like, hey, I'm me. I'm here, when you need me. I'm not going to push anything, but I will give you a hug when I see you. So yeah.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah, very, very sweet guy. And then I don't know if I have a stepmom on my dad's side.
Okay, you'll let us know one day. Let me ask you this: has anything he's done influenced how you show up in another kid's life when you've dated a man with children?
It's changed how I show up dating.
Okay.
It's never I've always been really good with kids. I don't know. I think maybe because I'm a firstborn daughter and I had to help raise my brother. I've always been good with kids. I'm always the one that's going to steal the baby in the room. And like my friends know when we go out for brunch or something, like bring the kids. I don't care. I'm not the friend that's like, leave the kids at home. Bring them. I'll probably pay more attention to them than you, and you will get like a free mom day while I'm playing with the kids.
That's so good.
So I wouldn't say how I show up for kids because I've always been like that, but definitely it's taught me a lot about dating that I wish I knew sooner.
Give me one thing.
Men that are like, I'm a man versus a man that shows you he's a man. He's very quiet. He's very stoic. He just does. Versus somebody that talks a lot. There's no talking. He's very chill. He's not going to be the loudest. He's going to be the quietest person in the room. Okay. But if something needs to get done, it's going to get done. Okay. And he's going to do it quietly and not brag about it and just be happy and content that it's done.
Message.
So, yeah.
Love that. I still tell my mom I am ready for my stepdad whenever you get me one. We will make this work. I would love a stepdad.
I think they met on Black People Meet.
Okay, I'll let her know. I'll let her know. Well, we're wrapping up. Is there any advice you have for people thinking about co-parenting, people thinking about dating people with children?
Make sure you actually like kids.
Okay.
You know?
How can you find that out?
I mean, at a certain age, you know, but I believe in being really intentional. And just like I said, personally, I know that I don't want to have kids, and I'm intentional about that. I know people that are like, hey, I don't want to have kids. I don't want to date somebody with kids. So I don't believe in trying to change somebody from who they are. If you date a man that's a father, you can't get jealous that he's a good father and he's spending time with his kids. So make sure you actually like them. Because if you don't, that's fine too. I believe there's someone out there for everyone. And if you settle and take half of what you want and then get half of what you want, and you have to put up with something that you didn't really want, like somebody with kids, for example, it's kind of on you because you stepped into that. So, you know, make sure you actually like them. And can like them separate of their parent, because sometimes their parent will get on your nerves. And they will.
Oh, absolutely. Every relationship.
For sure.
Is it even healthy if they don't get on your nerves sometimes?
Right. Yeah. So make sure you like them separate. Make sure you actually like them before you even start. Okay. And then personally, I always like to make sure I cultivate a good relationship with whoever the mom is, so I can advocate for her in her absence. I think that's really important.
That is so dope.
Yeah.
I think that is hella dope. I think
Thank you.
Many people can learn from that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Qolett.
Mwah. Thank you for having me. Come back to Atlanta.
Always.
Move to Atlanta.
Please subscribe, share, and like.